Good morning, superfan. Aloha. It is I, Corey Leland. Hope you're having a peaceful and happy weekend. Awareness of dreaming is the real function of God's teachers, says A Course in Miracles. As you've heard me say many times, dreams seem real. The dreams we have at night, because it's supposed to be a clue that the world of time and space and flesh and bones is a form of dreaming, from which the spiritual goal is to awaken from that dream. And from the message of the Infinite Way, and both Course in Miracles and the Infinite Way are based very much on God's message given through Jesus Christ, that the kingdom of God, reality, omnipresence of God, reality, is right where the world seems to be. The key word is seems to be. Very hypnotic, very persuasive, very persistent, but it is an illusion, it is a dream. And your body, physical sense of body, is right where your perfect spiritual self appears to be, seems to be. Now, I have a letter here from an interested viewer. Just kidding. I don't have any interested viewers. But if I did, this letter would say, Dear Mr. Leland, please call me Corey. I've read a few of your Facebook posts, and I've decided you're a conspiracy theorist, a science denier, and the message you teach is spiritual bypass. Thank you. I appreciate those comments. Let's look at them in order. Conspiracy theorist. You know where the term conspiracy theorist was first formed, where people started first accusing others of being a conspiracy theorist? Well, it was the very month that I was born, November of 1963, when President John F. Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s uncle, was assassinated. And to many people, the official story of how it happened just didn't sound right, didn't add up. And so the CIA, or the powers that be, invented the term conspiracy theorist to put on anybody that questioned the official government story. So the governments have continued down through the decades, and probably for centuries, to stage things like the Charlie Kirk assassination, like any number of things that you see on the news. You see anything on the news, it's staged, it's rigged. There's nothing on the news that's an actual news story. It's all propaganda, mind control. And questioning those things is never wrong, which is why during the scamdemic of COVID, many of us questioned the warp speed, the shutdowns, the self-suffocation devices, the total insanity of the Fourth Reich, with the PF, OURTH. But that brings us to the spiritual message that there is no world, which A Course in Miracles says is the main central message of the Course. There is no world. And as I was saying, from the Infinite Way, Joel Goldsmith writings, and also another wonderful teacher named Herb Fitch, the kingdom of God, which Jesus tells us is within you, is right where the world seems to be. And as the Course in Miracles tells us, the main message, the main function of God's teachers is that not only that the world is a dream, that there is no world, but that the kingdom of heaven, reality, your true identity, is right where your body and the very hypnotic dream world of time seems to be. So when people accuse me or anyone of spiritual bypass, I hear that as just another term like conspiracy theorist, which was totally meant to put the veil on truth, on the real message that you are spirit and the world of heaven is right where we seem to be in the dream world, and that the spiritual goal is to awaken to the truth that the kingdom of heaven is within you and that spirit is your only reality and our saving grace. So the term spiritual bypass, I think, was invented by the same people that invented the term conspiracy theorist to see that you bypass spirituality, you bypass truth. And let's face it, I mean, psychologists, the medical profession, getting back to the science deniers, all they know is the body. That's all they know is the physical body. Everything is based on the premise that you are only bones, blood, flesh, organs in a world of time and vulnerable. Now, the spiritual truth is that I am spirit. Your body is not spirit, your personality is not spirit, but the real self is only spirit. So when somebody accuses me of spiritual bypass, I mean, I hear that they're just parroting, they're regurgitating a term that was meant to put on anyone who's teaching the actual message. The truth is true and the false is false. Now, they say, well, if you don't do shadow work, you're not spiritual and you're spiritually bypassing. Look, you can do all the shadow work you want. You can soak in your pain and your past and your frustrations and your regrets and your guilts and your angers and your hurts. You can wallow in that as long as you want to. You do as much shadow work as you want to. Um, but I would only urge you to move through it as quickly as possible. And if you recognize negative thought patterns, and that's what you call shadow work, of course, you got to do that. You have to work through the insanity of the human mind, the world mind that conditions us to believe that the world and the body are real and the spirit of God, the kingdom of God, does not exist. That's what the world, every moment of every day, is trying to convince you that you're not the spiritual child of God, that you're not created in the spiritual image and likeness of our Creator, which is spirit, not flesh. God is not a body, God is spirit. Reality is not time, reality is in the eternal now. And to know God rightly is to know yourself as perfect spiritual life eternal. So, science denying is just recognizing that scientists trust the science. All they know is mortality, is physicality. And the best thing that they can do is keep you alive a little longer and put off that coffin a little bit longer. But if we're actually spiritual and interested in an actual spiritual message, that right where your physical body and the world of time seems to be is the kingdom, the reality, the identity, the truth of heaven, the spiritual realm is right here and now. And that awareness of dreaming is the real function of God's teachers, of a real student, to become aware the world is not, but God and spiritual truth is. Then yeah, you got to bypass unreality. You can't convince the light that there is such a thing as darkness. If you want to take pride in your ignorance and wallow in pain and past that is not here, the past is not here. But if you want to dwell in that and think that that is some kind of virtue, then go right ahead. But yeah, you do need to recognize if you're dwelling on those things, if those thoughts are preventing you from dwelling on scriptural truth, that the kingdom of God, the spiritual identity is the I am that I am, then you have to correct that to where you can dwell on scriptural spiritual truth. The kingdom of heaven is within me. My kingdom is not of this world. And use current events, the conspiracies, and the science as incentive to seek the truth. Got to be knowing the truth that makes you free. If you don't recognize the bondage that you're in as a mortal flesh puppet in a world of time and death and corruption and pain and problems, chaos, and use that as incentive to seek the real, okay, you can be trapped in the dream as long as you want. You keep coming back over and over again to live more human lifetimes as long as you want to. But if you're interested in outgrowing and escaping the mortal prison, if you want to awaken from the dream of time and death, then you need real spirituality. And real spirituality does bypass pain and frustration and guilt and fears and all those things that people that do shadow work want to wallow in. What psychologists and psychiatrists want you coming back year after year after year after year without being healed because they have alimony to pay. They've got payments on their homes and cars like everybody else, and they don't want to heal you any more than the medical world wants you healed either, because you got to keep coming back with your heart attacks and your cancer to keep that system going. So, conspiracy theorists, science denying, and spiritual bypass. Yeah, okay. Have a beautiful day. Happiness and peace. I'm Corey Leland. Practice knowing the truth with me at the top of each hour whenever you feel like doing so. Consistency adds up. The bells ring in the churches, convents, and the monasteries. You put down what you're doing, drop the world completely, let go with both hands, like the Buddha says. Forget your body, forget the past, forget the future, forget the world, and come to God with open hands. Here I am, Lord, fill me with the awareness of my real self and the real world.